With the Premier League season finally over, we're actually sticking with some Klopp and some Liverpool stuff for some reason. It's just the way things roll. That's just my way of saying we've got another Klopp tactic for you. Let's check it out. Yes, this is the rock and roll with Klopp tactic. As you can see, it is a 4-3-3 tactic. You start off with a sweeper keeper in attack, complete wingbacks on both sides, ball playing defenders, one in cover and one as a stopper. You have a DM above them in support, box to box in support, Mazzala in support, two inside forwards on attack, and then a pressing forward in attack up front. As you would expect with an actual Klopp tactic, it is a custom gegenpress. Mentality is attacking. In possession, attacking with is fairly wide. Approach play is pass into space, overlap on the left and right, play out of defense. Shorter passing directness, tempo is higher. Whip crosses, work the ball in the box, and be more expressive. In transition, counterpress, counter, distribute quickly, and then distribute to the fullbacks and the center backs and take short kicks. And then out of possession, high press line of engagement, higher defensive line, which you definitely would expect with a Klopp tactic. Trigger press much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and step up more. Now, how did this work for our three Premier League teams? Well, unfortunately, it was pretty much bang on average for all three of them. Tottenham in 5th in Europa League spots, Newcastle in 7th in Conference League, and then Wolves in 11th. So overall, I wouldn't say a fantastic job for any of them. Probably a standard 4-3-3 tactic that you can hopefully build off of and work wonders on your own. But I mean, 62, you could possibly get to Man United here in 4th. But getting to 77 with this tactic is going to be hard pressed. Tottenham schedule actually starting out pretty nice. 4-0 over Everton. You do lose out 0-3 to Man City. Your September's not the greatest, neither is your October. But again, Tottenham has a pretty packed schedule at the first half of the season. Aston Villa losing out 1-2 in the EFL Cup 4th round, and then Chelsea 1-3 in the FA Cup 3rd round. But you do move on in the Champions League against Red Bull Salzburg in the round of 16, and then Liverpool. You win at home 3-1, and then are crushed at Anfield 1-5. I mean, it is a Klopp tactic. What do you expect? But the second half of the season, not great, especially from the end of March all the way down. Really just spotty. But I mean, you did make it to the quarterfinals, so not a bad shake right there. Newcastle starting out not too bad either. 1-4 loss to Liverpool, 2-3 against Leeds. But I mean, you have a nice run of points right there, all the way to the end. You got 2 losses right there against Brighton and Nottingham Forest. So, But immediately after the World Cup, Crystal Palace, you lose out 0-2 in the EFL Cup 4th round. FA Cup, you continue on until the semifinals, and you lose out to Arsenal 2-3, and you just drop everything until that last match of the season. It's so weird how that happens, where you finally get kicked out of the competitions, the cups, and you think, you know what, we can finally just focus everything on the Premier League, and then they just drop it all. Wolves' schedule definitely a lot more spotty. I mean, you start out nicely with Crystal Palace, but then losses to Manchester United, 3-4, not too bad actually. 0-5 to Liverpool though, and you're just kind of. I mean, you have a nice sea of some points here, but then back down. You lose out EFL Cup 3rd round to Crystal Palace. Wow, I mean they're just a bogey team. And then FA Cup, you do lose out in the 4th round, 0-2 against Middlesbrough, but I mean, it's pretty much spotty from that point on. You got a nice C right here, but then greens and reds, and it's just not great. Tottenham transfers, nothing really big. You could have Mancini from Roma for 29 million, Fernando from Antalyaspor for 1.3. We've seen him before, I believe. Outswise, you got Lucas Moura going to Lyon for 5.75, Holzberg going to Real Madrid for 48. For Newcastle, you do have this Furuhashi from Celtic for 23 million. Rodriguez, we've seen, I believe, 35 million, so big spenders there. Kai Kennedy, Gonçalves from Sporting for 41. And then same outs as always. Oh, 51, St. Maximin. Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen that before to Man City, but that is a big one. Wolves, as you would expect, not the big spenders here, but Tormena from Braga, 11.5. Bruno Valera from Vitória de Guimarães from 4.7 million. And then outs, you have a whopping 11.5 for Jose Sa, and then 850 for Lembikisa, we've always seen. Tottenham, as we take a quick look at the squad, you can see there's a couple of greens, which is nice. They've had more in previous tactics though. Newcastle, as always, just pause it wherever you want to see your player. Newcastle actually has a little bit more on the last five, funny enough, but average rating still not all that great, but less, just under Tottenham's numbers. And then Wolves, they actually have a fair bit in the average rating in the greens, which is nice to see. Some over sevens, especially in the last five. Data Hub, Tottenham wise, you can see, I mean, overall in attack, they did a fairly good job for where they ended up. Defensive, not too bad. You could see both good in defense and attack. You could get a couple more tackles. I mean, some of these just could definitely be a little bit, better. Blocks per game, clearances per game, tackles attempted per game. Same with Newcastle. You have both good in defense and attack. Fouls made per game. Wow, that is crazy. That's some of the tactics that we've seen long ago where everything was just fouls made per game. But their attacks, not too bad. Just not a dribbling tactic. So, I mean, you still got a lot that could really be desired. Wolves, shaky in defense, good in attack. You still have, I mean, some less numbers in attack, but still around the same viewpoint that you get in Newcastle and Tottenham. A lot less than the Premier League average, except for blocks per game and tackling percentage. Yeah, they need to have brought a lot of this up. Stats wise, Liverpool and Manchester City in first and second, as you would expect, but Tottenham in third with 71 goals. Newcastle in tied for fourth, Wolves in seventh. So not a bad haul for right there. Fewer shots against Tottenham right there. Most possession, you got a couple. Most dribbles made, nobody. Fewest conceded, nobody. Wow. Defensively, not doing all that great, especially in passing. Most shots for, though, Newcastle, Tottenham, and Wolves, and most points, as you would expect, Tottenham and Newcastle. Most goals for individual basis, Harry Kane with 23, Isaac with 16, and Jimenez with 15. I would say overall, fairly average for these players. Sarabia is back on top with most assists with 16. We've seen him there a smattering of times. Most player of the match awards, though, Cunha with 6. Harry Kane's there with 6 as well, but pass completion, nobody. Dribbles made. I mean, Jose Sa right there. Bruno Valera, 27. So they actually brought in a good player, it seems. Most shutouts, nobody. Tackles, nobody. Key passes, there you go. Trippier and Sarabia up there, as you would expect. Most shots, Harry Kane and Isaac. Tottenham, though. Harry Kane, 37 goals. Every now and again, there's a tactic that just makes him an absolute beast. Harry Kane with 7.35 average rating. Son with 12 assists. Harry Kane with 10 player of the match awards. He had a fantastic season for Tottenham. No doubt about it. Newcastle, Isaac with only 22 goals. Definitely on the low side for him for some of these tactics that actually do work. But again, 7th place, 7.36 highest average rating, though, is a fantastic result. Rodriguez with 8 assists. Isaac with 7 player of the match awards. Raul Jimenez, 16 goals. Definitely not good. 11th place Wolves, I'm sorry to say. Cunha with 7.18 is the highest average rating. Sarabi with 18 assists, and then Cunha with 7 player of the match awards. Not too bad. I will say overall, I mean, I don't think this tactic didn't do bad things. Clearly it did not do bad things, but these guys are all in spots you'd expect them to be. So we've definitely covered 4-3-3s that have done better than this. I know that there's a couple in the future that I'll be covering, but very average, I would say. But that is it for me, 7FM for the Football Manager Blog channel, saying thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.